As you count the days, the end of the year is quickly approaching, and now is a great time to maybe take a look at your finances. Richmond financial expert Bryan is here with how we can improve our financial report card. Hi, JB.
I'm passing out the report card, and I'm going to give it to you at the end of this segment.
Well, we are two high achievers, so we do not like to fail, so we want an A.
That's right.
Get ready with this.
Right.
So let's start with talking about emergency fund, because we talk about this all the time. The standard used to be having 6 months of income ready to pay your bills. Now it's more like a year that you have to have banked away just in case, because it takes longer to find a job. If you lose your job, and if there's an emergency that comes up, that could wipe you out.
Well, you are indeed an overachiever, because to get an A, you only need to have 6 months.
Okay.
So we're good. Look, so she said, so they would be like in an AP placement if they had a year, right? But definitely, depending on their responsibilities, you bring up a very good point. If they were a single parent, or they were having a contract job or something, and they knew that it was going to end within a year, definitely having 1 year of an emergency fund would be great for them. So I'm
any
glad
great
you
tips
said that.
on how to start that saving, putting a little bit away?
Start immediately and make sure that you're living below your means, because other categories of the report card will total up to nowhere near 100%. So if you're not saving every month for your emergency fund or for your retirement accounts, then that means that you're definitely failing in some of the other areas.
Maybe giving up something, a treat a day, like that extra coffee or that snack that you run to the the machine for at lunchtime.
Or going out, going grocery shopping and cooking instead of going to restaurants 3 or 4 times a week. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, credit card balance. Everybody's probably charging, or a lot of people are charging this time of year. Yes. Not everybody. But that credit card balance, those deals that you got now, when that credit card comes, if you don't pay it off, you're paying more for that sale item than you actually would have if you paid full price sometimes.
Very good. And to get an A in the credit card balance category, you have to have a 0 balance at the end of every 30 days. So when you pay, if you're paying it off every month, if you're going to pay it off when you get this bill for December, then you're fine. Use it. But unfortunately, so many people don't, and they spend the entire next year paying off the Christmas balance. So
you never get ahead of it.
So they'll have a really bad grade in that area.
So for credit cards, we want to borrow their money for 30 days and pay it off at the end of the month.
Just using it for the convenience. Okay. That's right.
All right. What about housing payments? Can we be wrong? Should we be paying on a house if we can't afford it? Should we be living in an apartment? Should we be looking at buying a house?
And the important point there is that even if you're renting or if it's a mortgage payment, it should not exceed 30% of your gross income as a habit. So that if you can learn to live within or purchase within that area or rent within the 30% of your gross income, you would do yourself a great service. But also don't spend the money in these other areas like to credit cards.
Now, does that 30% include your utilities as well, or is that just the mortgage or rent?
That's just the payment. That's right.
Okay.
Just the mortgage or rent payment, that 30%.
So that can add up tremendously to up to 50% of your income if you're not careful.
That's right. That's right. And your payment, especially on a mortgage, would include your taxes, but it's not going to include maintenance things. Right. So things could come up. So the emergency fund becomes important.
We'll pay for that heat pump that goes out on the coldest day of the year.
That's
all right. Consumer debt payment amounts.
Yes.
You're saying we should have 0 credit card debt, but what about other debt?
And the consumer debt payment amount would be your school loans, your car payments, your personal loans. They should be no more than 15% of your gross income. So those payments should be low, and you should be saving for things like a car so that you don't have a big car payment. So part of your goal of the extra money, if you have 15% plus 30% for housing, then you have a considerable amount of your income that you could still be saving for your long-term financial goals.
That's the key.
That's right.
Why do financial goals matter, and how can we kind of get on track?
And to get an A in the financial goal category, you must have at least 2 financial goals and 1 that you're actively working on in order to get an A. They matter because people who have financial goals tend to be more successful. They tend to reach their financial goals if you have the goals. If they tend to have the savings, they tend to have the emergency fund, but it first has to be part of your plan. You have to establish these goals. So they're important because you'll live a much less stressful life in January.
Well, hopefully everybody was keeping score at home. Any last minute advice for us as we get ready to go into the new year?
make sure that you do realize how important accountability is. We're calling it a report card, but the bottom line is that you need to be accountable. You need to know where you are financially. You need to be in tune with these things. We tend to avoid the things that we really need to be focusing on, you know, and they don't want to think about the negative things, but it's very important to really realize if you have a C in an emergency fund area, you can bring that up by actively saving and saving for your fund.
Well, we will work on
emergency fund. That's
JB
right.
Bryan, thanks so much for joining us today, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you much. JB Bryan offers free money seminars every Wednesday at noon and on select Saturday mornings at 10 at our office in Glen Allen. You do need to pre-register. Just visit us online at WTVR.com/VTM for a link to more information.